You ever just think to yourself, right? Just as you just navigate this reality, you get to a point in time when you start to like question everything that you experience on a day-to-day basis. For example, back in 2021, right? And like I mentioned in several of my previous videos, a lot of things had transpired in my life from my, former wife, her passing away, and then from that point, me becoming a single father, and then from that point, me leaving my last 9 to 5, and so far and so forth. And during that time, this I was in a transitional phase, and that what happened with my wife, that was the anchor that jump started it. I talked about it a little bit, but at the same time, there was still some lingering things that came with that. See, that whole full energy cycle, right? There was a lot that had transpired. And preceding that, there was a lot of other things that transpired as well. And I just got to this point at the beginning part of August. It's so ironic. When I was at work at my last 9 to 5, I ended up feeling like a bunch of different symptoms as I was leaving. And I just felt like this headache, this like I felt like my body was getting weak. I just felt all of these different things happen at the same time. What people would call symptoms of what was going on during that time, right? From the span of 2019 to 2021, and of course beyond. So during that time, I was out of work for 10 energy cycles, and it got me to sit down and think. That was the most that I had sat down since my former wife had passed away. I had time to think. It was away from work. It was, away from a lot of different things that my attention and my awareness was being pulled to during that time. But it got me to sit down and to truly think. At that point in time, there was a decision that I had to make. People that are familiar with tarot, it was a two of swords moment. It was a moment in time where I had to think about what my next move is going to be, how life is going to be moving forward, how I going to go about it. Yes, there was a lot of things that I had to think through during that time, but at the same time, I slowed it down and took it one step at a time. And see, I'm thankful and grateful for that moment because it allowed me to make the decision that I needed to make, which ultimately led me to leave for my last 9 to 5. Now I'm thankful and grateful for the amount of time that I was there, but at the same time, I got to a point, man, I was like, I can't do this shit no more because I feel like this is not feeding me spiritually. I feel like a lot of me went into this s- space, but truly, I was pouring too much of myself out when myself could have been poured into other things that I feel actually would have been fruitful. And that's not to say that being at this place, I didn't learn a lot of things. Of course, I learned how to work with a team. I learned leadership. I learned how to work around other people, and the different things that they experience at times and stuff like that. And of course, I moved around in different aspects of this place, so it taught me a lot about people, specifically men, and the things that they experience from time to time. There were some people at this place where they expressed a lot of things that they was experiencing and whatnot, and then there was others that I can tell was confiding and holding it in. And to be honest, I was one of those people. At times, I had to speak to people in a certain way, not because I wasn't speaking my truth or anything like that, because I did on several different occasions, but it was also because I felt like part of me was just fading away. So again, I go back to when I left my um last 9 to 5. Like I just felt like this big pressure, and as I was walking to leave this place for the last time, it was like my spirit just cried. Even though a bunch of tears didn't flow out, but there were one tear that just fell. And that's when I knew that I was making the right decision, because at that point, that was a moment in time where the inner part of myself was like, yes, you need this. Even though I didn't even know what the next move was going to be, I didn't know what life was going to look like. I was just thankful and grateful that I had things in order and established so that I was able to use that time to not only spend more time with my sons, but also be able to spend more time with myself. And why am I saying all of this? Because we come to these points in time throughout life and we don't know what the next move is. And sometimes unfavorable experiences, kind of like what I went through, happen to get you to sit your ass down and think about what the hell you're going to do moving forward. Because you can't keep navigating through life when you know it's time to make a move, when you know it's time for change, and you just keep going. Because something is going to happen to get your attention. If you yourself don't do it, oh, something within the world is going to see you and it's going to get you to slow down and think. And when we get to those moments, which I feel is a threshold, but also it's a moment to pause, sit, reflect. Just like I mentioned in several of my other videos, that's when you get to tune in a little bit more to what is really going on and the things that are beneath the surface that people don't see, but you experience. But I know that other people that truly love and care about you and feel it, they know to a certain degree, but you know more than that though. So you can hide these things all you want to. You can disguise it. You can have a poker face all you want to. But at some point in time, this awareness and attention is going to come your way and it's going to get you to sit the fuck down. So you can pay attention to what's really going on. You can break away from all of these old patterns and stuff like that. So you can reinvent yourself. So you can think from a higher perspective. So your decision making is a lot more solid and set in stone. And you will be able to dissolve a lot of different aspects of yourself. I'm saying all this to say, pay attention to the signs that you see in life. We overlook them at times because we are too focused on so many things outside of ourselves. I don't know how many fucking times can I say that. We focus on too many things, and a lot of these things that we focus on ain't fucking worth focusing on. If it ain't things that's giving you joy, gratitude, love, abundance, prosperity, and all things divine, don't pay no fucking mind to it. Even if it's coming from people, even if it's coming from things you extend your energy to, even when it comes to places that you visit at times. Energetically speaking, you will feel the pull to detach from this shit because you know that it's time to move away from it. That's when you know that it's time for change. But don't let something detrimental happen before that change come. Take your time, slow down, digest, especially for men. And I'm not taking away from women either because I know women experience this too. I'm speaking to men. Don't hold all that pain in. Don't hold all that hurt in. Don't harbor your feelings and emotions. None of that. You will hear some men say, "Oh man, you know that shit weak and oh you know and man don't worry about it, man." And I just be wanting to tell them sometimes to shut the fuck up because that shit sounds stupid. You have feelings and whatnot, and yes, you shouldn't sit there and harbor them, but you do need to honor them though. I don't care what nobody say. Honor how you feel. Honor yourself. Be more present with yourself. That's how you will know what to do with yourself, how you can reinvest in yourself, and how you can move in your day to day reality. You start to witness these things. Pay attention to them. Focus. Don't lose yourself in the process. But if you do, become the anchor that brings you back. Because some kind of sign outside of you is going to show itself and present itself to let you know what you need to do. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to them. I go by El-Yoshuah Malachi. And the messages that I give is to uplift, motivate, and inspire people to be the best version of themselves today and beyond. I love y'all. I'm thankful and grateful for y'all. Have an amazing, beautiful, abundant, and prosperous rest of y'all energy cycle.